and doing all that. And then we're going to lead up to what we have to do and address. The largest spending items, the reason we're in trouble is because over 74% of federal spending is on autopilot, mandatory spending. That's your entitlement programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and then things like Social Security. They have to be adjusted and fixed. We have a plan to do that next year, and it's critical because we're at $40 trillion plus.
40 trillion plus in the debt. Never mind the fact that the president that's in the White House right now added 8 trillion of that 40 trillion all by himself. We've got $1.5 trillion that we can give to the Defense Department, right? Just gave $70 billion more to Department of Homeland Security and ICE. $10 billion for Donald Trump's peace initiative. Nobody said a fucking word about a $1.8 billion, which thankfully fell apart for his allies. But here we go. If elected, we know we've got to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Why do you think that Mike Johnson is talking about that so openly ahead of the midterms? Normally, the Republicans would be, at this point in the electoral cycle, they would be talking about how we're not going to touch Medicare. We're the only party that wants to save Social Security, so forth and so on. He is openly, just a handful of months ahead of a midterm election, talking about cutting these programs. Why? Because he knows that the last 2 years of the Donald Trump administration might be their last 2 years to be able to get something like that done. And they can't get it done if they don't have the House. That's how important the midterm vote is. If they don't have the House, they can't cut your Social Security, they can't cut your Medicaid, they can't cut your Medicare. But they can if they retain the House and Donald Trump is still the president. And he's got 2 more years. 2 more years. And they know that the damage that's going to be done over the course of those 2 years is going to be so significant that a Democrat is most likely going to walk into the White House in the 2028 presidential election. So they've got a 2-year window to get this shit done. They have a 2-year window to replace some Supreme Court justices, cut the hell out of the social safety net programs, continue to spend as much as humanly possible on defense and immigration, cut as many international programs as humanly possible, and slash taxes for the upper earners to the bone. They've got a 2-year window. So they're done pretending like they're not going to touch Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. They are 5 months out from a midterm election, and they are openly talking about slashing your programs. You better make sure you're registered to vote. You better make sure that you check your registration to vote once a month, especially if you're in a red state. Make a plan to vote and get your ass to the polls this November. Otherwise, that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to give Donald Trump every last bit of his wish list in the last 2 years of his presidency.